So good afternoon. Welcome to our UK Family and Friends. The Office of Work Life is thrilled to host this Fayette County Public Schools Blitz. We have lots of Fayette County Public School representatives in the room who are going to be sharing information with our parents about how to navigate the school system and the processes and how to make sure your children are successful. So we have some participants on Zoom, and of course the Zoom participants know that anytime they can type questions. Also, if there's any technical concerns, they can type that as well. But for the guys in the room, if you have questions as we go along, feel free to raise your hand and we will take them as we go. So our first presenter representing Fayette County Public Schools is from Special Education.
Good afternoon. I'm Amanda Dennis, Director of Special Education. I have with me Becky Dahlstrom. She is our Associate Director of Special Education for the middle school level. And we're just going to tell you a little bit about the process for special education, and we'll be available at the table after we finish if you have any questions. So a lot of people think about special education and they don't realize that there are actually 14 categories of disability, and they range from anything to needing speech services because of an educational speech disability to having multiple disabilities or severe impairments. So there is a wide range. I won't read the list of 14 to you, but they are there on the slides for you. Anyone have a question about a particular category that you maybe don't know what that pertains to? Okay.
Would you like to read through them?
I will, okay. Forget we have people who will be listening later. Mild mental disability and functional mental disability, those are directly related to deficits in general intellectual functioning and adaptive behavior and academics. So you're looking at all three areas there. Hearing impairment, speech language, visual impairment, emotional behavior disability, orthopedically impaired, other health impaired, specific learning disability, which can have a variety of different categories under specific learning disability, deaf blind, multiple disabilities, autism, traumatic brain injury, and developmentally delayed. That category, developmentally delayed, only goes to the age of 9. That is an early intervention category. We also have, for any student who's eligible, the team needs to consider that's writing the individual education program, whether related services are needed to support the student. And those may be things like speech therapy. So speech is the one thing that can stand alone. You can need an IEP just for speech, or you may have another disability and need speech as a related service. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, employment training, health services, psychological services. We do have some students who need counseling, and then behavior analysts. If your child is struggling, you may be thinking, where should I go? I'm not sure that they have a disability, or I think they might, but they're having some struggles in school. This just takes you through, the very first thing would be just request a meeting with the teacher, the guidance counselor, and we have teams that are called multi-tiered systems of support. So you could ask for, in our lingo, we use lots of letters, an MTSS team. And then that team would develop a plan, to address concerns, decide what interventions or instruction the student may need related to the areas of concern, and then follow up. How will we review progress, and how will you be informed of the progress? If your child is not responding to the interventions or remains multiple grade levels behind, because they may be responding but not at a rate that would reduce the gap that you're concerned about, then it might be necessary to do a referral for special education. If you're not satisfied with this process, and you don't want to wait for the interventions to occur first, you can say, I'd like to do a parent referral. But the interventions would then still have to occur while the evaluation was in process. If you do have any concerns, our number is on there. It's also on the last slide. But just know that partnering with families is always a priority for us. And if you are having concerns about getting access to even understanding the process, then feel free to call us so that we can help support, get in touch with the school, and maybe help intervene there. Fancy. So I don't want to read this entire slide. I know that even folks on Zoom will have a chance to review this information, but just know that anyone can make a referral. It doesn't have to be you as a parent. If you have a neighbor that you're concerned about, you can make a referral, but the team would have to seek the consent of the parents. Any school staff, community member who has a concern can refer. And we're fortunate in Fayette County to have achievement and compliance coaches at each building who help lead that process. So if you were wanting to make a referral, you would call the school, ask for the name, and ask to speak to the achievement and compliance coach. Once they receive that, they work with the parent or the family member to schedule the meeting, to consider the concerns on the referral, and then if an evaluation is planned at that point, there's a 60 school day timeline. So at that point, if you give consent to evaluate today, we count forward 60 school days, and in that time, the evaluation has to be completed, and we have to come back together to consider that evaluation and whether the student may be eligible. If you have any questions or need to contact us, my name is there. Our main office number is there. I'm Amanda Dennis, again, the director. Adam Lichty is our associate director who's in charge of child find and the referral process. Michelle Canoy and Christina Grace are elementary associate directors. We do have 38 elementary schools, so they split those. Becky here is our associate director for middle school, and then Rachel Baker for high school. We do have a website, fcps.net/special ed, and then Facebook page is listed there, as well as a Twitter. We have a parent resource center and a parent liaison who manages that Twitter account. And so she sends out little blasts of articles that may be of interest to families, that sort of thing. Any questions? Okay, thank you for your time.
I'm Whitney Stevenson. I'm the Associate Director for Early Childhood, and this is?
I'm Damon Fitzgerald. I'm the Family and Community District Early Childhood Liaison.
Title there. Yes. So we are here today to talk about early childhood. And so for Fayette County Public Schools, we have a state-funded preschool program, and we follow curriculum, the creative curriculum. We have certified teachers in the classroom. So it is a public school classroom that, excuse me, that's located in 28 or 25 of our elementary schools, and we have 3 additional locations. One of those locations happens to be here at UK in their UK Early Childhood Lab. We do have a Fayette County classroom there as well. So we serve 3- and 4-year-old children who have a diagnosed disability through the school system, and 4-year-olds that meet the state income guidelines. And those income guidelines are based on the yearly income of the family of all the working adults, and then how many people are in that household. So we get those numbers each year from KDE on how to qualify families for that program. So the other part of our department, besides the state-funded preschool, that we're serving about 1,000 students. We typically serve anywhere between 1,200 and 1,300 students for the school year. So we serve those children. And then the other piece is we manage a project called First 5 Legs. So it's a cradle to kindergarten initiative that helps community partners along with Fayette County Public Schools to work with students and families or children and families on being school ready. So I'm going to let Amy talk a little bit about that initiative.
Thank you. So the First 5 Legs initiative really looks at families and caregivers to give them access to information about early learning and connect them to fun, stimulating, age-appropriate activities that help support the young child's learning and development there. We know that it's critical, children's early experiences from birth to 5 and their brain development. Another thing we know is that kind of the first 3 years of life is the most rapidly growing brain growth that happens there, and that 90% of their brain is kind of fully developed by the age of 5. So the importance of giving kind of those good stimulating experiences, we like to give that information out as quickly and easily accessibly to all families as possible. Some of the ways we do this is we communicate with families through social media, emails, kind of community events, using kind of the read, talk, play mantra there with young children. Anything from community events to giving out books at 2-week-old checkups through pediatricians and hospitals. And one of our kind of most visible initiatives is these free Read to Me libraries that we do in and around the community that targets children and families wherever they are. For example, we have these in WIC offices, different health clinics, financial aid offices, and most recently, a local barbershop that we got in contact for. And we met these guys through another program here that Fayette County was doing. Found out that they were already collecting their own books and school supplies for their community. So we were able to go put a library there. And one of the things they were also doing even before us is that they were having young kids read books, come in and give them an oral book report as they're getting their haircut, and they would give the family a discount on the haircut. So this is a great partnership that we met to kind of help expand the great work that they were already doing in the community. It's one of the many ways we get the information out and kind of focus on again, there's the Read, Talk, and Play. And we have a website, Facebook page, and an app with easy, simple, and usually free or inexpensive ways to kind of focus on these with families. And if you want to ever need to contact us for anything, you can visit us on Facebook or first5lex.com. We're also on Twitter and Instagram, and as well as if you ever need to contact Whitney or I, you can see our contact information there. And you're welcome to call us anytime, and we will try and help you guys out as best we can. Good.
Hello, my name is Carl Hayden. I work out of the high school office, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Academies of Lexington. The Academies of Lexington set out big goals for schools. We're looking to transform education, enhance college and workforce performance, and benefit Lexington as a whole. Currently, the Academies of Lexington is made up of Bryan Station High School, Frederick Douglass High School, and Tates Creek High School. A big focus of the Academies of Lexington is making learning more engaging for students, looking at more hands-on project-based systems to make sure they understand why they're learning and how they can use what they are learning in their lives and their careers. The Academies of Lexington also helps put together connections from real-world careers, hands-on applications, and help students see the purpose and value of what they're learning in the classroom. There are many different experiences students get as a part of the Academies of Lexington, from Career Expo, mentoring, guest speakers, project-based learning. The structure of the Academy schools, all ninth graders start out in the Freshman Academy. And in the Freshman Academy, they get exposure to the multiple career academies that they have within their school. Once they are finished with their freshman year, they choose a career academy to enter, and they stay in that career academy and finish out getting an industry cert or obtaining AP dual credit courses for that particular CTE pathway. This is a slide showing the website for the Academies of Lexington, where the logo, explore your world, find your future. And if you ever make it out to one of the Academies of Lexington schools, you'll see that posted all over the place. But also if you visit the academiesoflex.com, it has links to go to the Facebook and Twitter accounts for the Academy of Lexington schools, Bryan Station, Frederick Douglass, and Tates Creek High School. If you have any questions, you can contact Strategic Partnership Manager Kim Lyon or myself, Carl Hayden. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Hayden. My name is James McMillan. I'm the Chief of High Schools for Fayette County Public Schools, and that was an excellent presentation, Mr. Hayden. We appreciate that. Today, I'm going to be talking about the college and career coaches. Little brief history for those who don't know sort of where these positions came from. When our new superintendent, Mr. Manny Koch, came to Fayette County, one of the great things he did as a leader was he started listening not only to what the principals and the teachers were saying, but what the students were saying. And many of our students and our principals were speaking to the fact that lots of the counselors within the schools were spending a lot of time one-on-one counseling with students about mental health and about issues going on within the building. But there were a large portion of students that felt like they weren't always getting the career and college coaching that they needed in order to be successful in high school. I think all of us can sort of reflect back on your own time in high school and how much that actually occurred sometimes with your own counselors. And you can see that you know, I'm in my 40s, so like that's still happening today. It was addressed, it was seen, and so Mr. Koch went before the board and got the college and career coaches position approved as a support to students and parents. So a couple definitions I just wanted to throw at you real quick. The state of Kentucky, the Kentucky Department of Education has sort of set definitions for college ready and career ready. I know that universities have their own definitions, and parents have their own definitions, and students have their own definitions. But as Fayette County Public Schools, we fall under these definitions that are kind of given to us as far as the accountability goes from the state. To be college ready, you obviously have to meet the benchmarks on the ACT, which is an 18, 19, and 20 English, math, and reading. For career ready, it is those students who travel down a CTE pathway and complete that pathway and then earn the industry cert, take an ASVAB, work keys. That actually has changed this year, so I want to make sure I correct myself. You can be a concentrator this year, which means you completed 2 courses within the pathway to be able to take the industry cert or the COSA ASVAB. So these are the 2 definitions that kind of define that. One of the things that we wanted to make sure, because again, these positions were set forth to provide services and coverage areas to our students, is that obviously we're going to strive to provide all students with those essential skills in the classroom, but also that support outside so that they can successfully transition from high school into post-secondary or into careers. And so you can see some of the services and coverage areas that the CCR coaches take on. They do a lot of college and career exploration, sort of piggybacking off of what Mr. Hayden was talking about the academies. Those dive specifically into colleges and careers as well. And so like career fairs are a big part that the CCR coaches work with both academies of Lexington and with all of the 6 comprehensive high schools. We have our freshman academies and orientations. There's a whole bunch of CTE awareness and pathways. If you flip through Facebook, if you look at the studies going on right now, you're going to see that CTE is making a comeback, and it should be. We have a gap, a huge gap when it comes to people fulfilling some of those positions, and some of those positions are really high-paying jobs. And so it doesn't require students to go into huge debt in college to be able to be successful in that CTE world. And so it's kind of coming to life again. There's some financial literacy. We know that's important. When you look at the amount of college debt compared to degrees earned, that starts to be an example that kind of punches you in the face. It kind of, it hits you pretty hard. And so we want to give some financial literacy to our students. There's lots of guest speakers. They're going to be coming from colleges and universities and career fields to talk to kids. We've got ACT prep classes. So when those students do take the ACT, both before, during, and after, so that they can have a prescribed sort of intervention to making sure that they're hitting those benchmarks, that occurs with our CCR coaches. This is a huge one, assistance with FAFSA. We all know that first time you open that up as a high school kid, that's a little scary endeavor, especially when you get to the part where you have to do taxes and you're like, well, I've never really done this before, right? So we're going to give that support with the FAFSA. Obviously, there's a lot of college visits, and I wanted to give a couple. There was a program done this summer by the CCR coach. It's on the right in the top. The CCR coach at Lafayette and the CCR coach at Bryan Station came together, and they actually took a whole bunch of kids on 6 college tours around the state of Kentucky. That's why you see the hashtag generally defending our future. The generals and the defenders kind of came together, those 2 schools, and went on the summer college tour. And again, the CCR coaches put that together. We've got some business and industry visits. Obviously, job shadowing and internships are a huge part of those CT pathways, and then transition packets that go along with that. I didn't give you my contact information because if you want to actually get to the root of it, you go to our CCR coaches. And so here are the CCR coaches at each one of the schools. You can contact them by email or by phone number, and they will definitely help or support anybody who needs that information from them. So we went ahead and had that up there for you guys. All right, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sharika Smith. I am the FCPS coordinator for ESS, social work, and mental health services. And I'm Ray Minikin, her other half, coordinator of ESS, school counseling, mental health services, and family resource and youth service coordinators. The Office of Student Support oversees a range of services, and Randy's going to go into detail about those services in just a minute. However, our primary purpose is to eliminate barriers to students' academic, social, emotional, and behavioral success. We are very proud to have partnered with outside community agencies to help us maximize our students and their families. All right, so this is a comprehensive list of our services as well as links to our district websites related. To start, the Family Resource and Youth Service Centers. That is a program that is actually unique to Kentucky that dates back to the early 1990s. At this point, the majority of our schools house a full-time or part-time Family Resource or Youth Service Center. The emphasis of these centers at the elementary level, those are Family Resource Centers, is really helping families to engage in education and to overcome any barriers to their students' access to an equitable education. In the middle and high schools, those are youth service centers, and the focus tends to transition to the students. So while they're still available to support families, there are additional programming that is more student-focused with regards to academic readiness. Guidance and counseling services occur from elementary through high school, and that role is really multifaceted. It is providing school-wide preventive services related to mental health, social and emotional learning, self-regulation, as well as safety and prevention, moving all the way up to high school where they, in collaboration with the College of Career Readiness coaches, are helping students transition from high school into adulthood. School social work services, we have social workers serving the majority of our buildings. That service is based on identified financial need, and they provide services to support families in attending school, overcoming social and emotional barriers, and connecting them with community resources. We have a liaison for our homeless families and students funded through the federal McKinney-Vento homelessness grant. And James Hodge is the contact there, and he can work with families who meet the federal guidelines for homelessness. And that does not mean that it's limited just to a family that is living on the street or in a shelter or in their car. It is actually someone with unstable housing. So perhaps they're crashing at a relative's house, they're at a friend's house. That meets the criteria, and there's assistance that's specific to those families through that program. With regards to mental health services, it really is twofold.
One, we have to rely on our community partners, and there are multiple agencies that actively collaborate with Fayette County Public Schools and provide on-site and off-site mental health services. And so we help to coordinate those services, but additionally, our district, through its recent 10-point safety plan, has hired 43 district mental health specialists serving students in elementary, middle, and high school, and we're continuing to grow that program. These are individuals that are trained mental health professionals that can provide interventions in small groups or individually, as well as provide consultation services to teachers and parents. We have an active LGBTQ resource center and community group. We actually recently sponsored a 5K just to garner funds to support student organizations that are supporting our LGBTQ youth. Within that website, there's an anonymous tip line where we receive tips that are reviewed upon receipt, basically about any concerns that a student or a parent has encountered related to an LGBTQ status. Within our department is also the Safe Schools Office, and under that umbrella is safe crisis management, de-escalation strategies, ensuring the safety of our students, but it also is positive behavior interventions and supports, which is a framework for structures to really prevent misbehavior and distractions in the classroom and to reinforce positive behavior. And to provide supports for those students that are struggling. Social emotional learning is a growing body of work that really supports students in developing the 5 competencies of SEL. So academic readiness, social relationships, effective communication, self-awareness, and emotional regulation. And then finally, extended school services also falls in our office. And that is funding that comes from the Kentucky Department of Education to support students who aren't meeting academic benchmarks in one or more academic area. And so they can receive these services before school, after school, on Saturdays, and during the summer, depending on the plan that's developed by the school based on their students' needs.
Thank you so much, Rainey. That was a mouthful, but you did amazing. All right, so our overall message to you all today: never be afraid to reach out and ask for support. That's what our department is here for. There's someone in every school building, elementary, preschool up to high school, that's there for support for you and your family. Also, whatever you need, you will be met with no judgment. So please keep that in mind. If you need to reach out to us, our contact information is on the screen. And if you're here at the Blitz, come visit us at our extremely fancy table in the back. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Hill, and I'm with the, let me get to the next screen, the Department of People Personnel. So we, and I'm the Director of People Personnel. Our office has many functions, which will be on the screen here. These are some of them. We have actually others, but this is primarily what the community particularly looks for. We maintain district boundaries and maps. And in that, one of the ways, so if you're a new UK employee and you're new to the community, how do you know where to go to school? So if you go to FCPS.net, scroll down to the icon school zones, click on that. You can put your address in there and it will tell you the 3 levels, elementary, middle, and high, where to go to school. And we have a lot of families that will call even before moving because they want, maybe they're looking for a certain program or whatever that might, whatever interests them, and they can, put an address in there to start looking as they're home shopping. So that's a useful resource for you. We do assign schools based on your residence. So we do have some magnet programs that will pull, there might be Spanish versions, those have application processes. So the other thing we do is enforce attendance laws, and that's unfortunately one of the, I don't know if it's negative, but it's a troubleshooting issues that might cause habitual truancy. I have a feeling if you're here or on Zoom, you're probably an engaged parent who likely this won't be an issue, but that is one of the main functions of our office. We also manage enrollments and registrations. Now this is probably, if anything, if you first move and you have a child and you're trying to figure out how to navigate Fayette County Schools. You have 70 options of where to go. Sorry, I'm still, I was first talking about kindergarten. So if you're a kindergarten family, first of all, your child has to be 5 by August 1st. We do have early enrollment opportunities, and those will happen in February, is it, Andre? February, I think it is. Is it usually February? It may be before that, but look on we do have that on our calendar, and we'll promote that out. We also have another opportunity in the summer as well. So you can, if you have a child who's going to be 5 by August 1st, you can start the enrollment process and get on the roster at the school. So that's beneficial. In order to do that, we ask that you have 2 proofs of residency, immunizations, birth certificate, vision and dental screening, and a physical done. So those are a lot of, that's why it helps to start that process earlier. If you have any questions on that, we have a dozen calls into our office. You can reach our office. We also are the keeper, that's supposed to say archive, but honestly, achieved academic records really is the same thing, honestly. So if once a family graduate, a person graduates, we just had a gentleman that came in from 1960 and needed a transfer. So we do that. We offer that service for our community. And then the other thing is out of area requests. We don't really have school choice per se, but we do have, if a family, we have some mobility in the district. So if a family moves mid-year, one of the things we don't want that our families have to do is necessarily uproot and move their child mid-year. So we offer opportunities for where they can remain in their school until the next academic year, and then move where their residence is. We do offer out of area also for transition grades. So an 8th grader, 5th grader, or 12th grader, that'd be very difficult for those kids to finish their last year in another school. So we do offer those opportunities as well. Also, it's not up here, but we have a part of homeschool, and the families that are wanting to homeschool, they can reach our office, and home hospital. So if your child, for example, has a skiing accident, breaks their leg, it's handled by a different department, but I'm a signer on all those forms. So one of the things families may not realize, if they have a child who's sick long-term more than 5 days, or maybe they're suffering from anxiety, mental health issue, they can go to a licensed psychologist, psychiatrist, or medical physician if it's a medical issue, and ask to stay at home, and we will send a teacher to your home 2 days a week. So that's sometimes a missed opportunity. We may not learn about that if the parents don't tell us that that's going on. So we have that service we can provide as well. I'll touch a little bit on attendance. This is the big thing. Families are new. What are your attendance rules in the state of Kentucky or even in Fayette County? Remember, it's really important to communicate with your school. If you're missing school, obviously we all understand life happens. So send a note. We allow 10 parent notes for sick or illness. If you have 6 unexcused events, that's the limit set by the state. It's considered individual terms. So just let you know that. So try to keep track of your child's attendance. And the little caption there, we know the kids are safe in school. So encourage your kids to come. We want them with us. They're loved on, they're supported, and hopefully you have that kind of relationship with your school. These are some tidbits here. Students should miss no more than 9 days of school to remain on track for graduation. So it's a national initiative. It's called chronic absenteeism. No matter what you're missing for, whether it's illness or whether it's just I need a break or whatever it might be, if you hit 10% of your school year as not being in school, it's considered you're a chronically absent student. And studies show that those kids have a far more greater opportunity not to graduate and be successful. Obviously, with engaged parents, some families might be able to overcome that, but it's a potential barrier. So by 6th grade, absenteeism is one of 3 signs that says your child may drop out of school. That's by attendance works, which is a Kentucky Department of Education supported resource. By 9th grade, regular high school attendance is a better predictor of graduation rates than 8th grade test scores. So we know if kids aren't coming to school, you can predict potentially, depending on their family dynamic, where they're going. So contact me, Steve Hill. There's my information, and the website. You can find all kinds of information there, or how to enroll in school. We have all kinds of information on this one.
Good afternoon. My name is Bea Pryor, and I am the Program Manager for Special Programs and New and Innovative Programs. I'm glad to be here today. So the Special Programs and New and Innovative Programs is a department provided to give support to our families, to help them make informed decisions concerning the various programs that we have available. The wonderful thing that I love about Fayette County Public Schools is that we boast over 30 gifted, talented, magnet, and specialized academic programs, from pre-engineering to SCAPA, which is our highest level of gifted services for the arts, to our elementary for Dixie Magnet, Maxwell Spanish Immersion. We are covering the gamut when it comes down to the various program offerings that we provide to our families. And we want to continue to provide those services by generating new and innovative programs. This year alone, we are right smack dab in the middle of our application season. The window closed on October 7th, as it does every year. We had over 3,000, actually, as a matter of fact, 3,200 applications to our special programs. So we understand that our families really want those options and opportunities made available to their students. So why new and innovative programs? Well, it provides options, opportunities, and access for our students. It also hits on educational excellence and equity for every student. So it gives our students an opportunity to really focus in on those areas that they are really passionate about. And you'll see some pictures there from Carter G and from our Spanish Immersion program. We do understand that one size does not fit all. It no longer suffices for our students. They have many needs. And so we want to make sure that we are meeting the needs of our students. It also supports the needs and interests of our students and families. There are three takeaways that I want to share with you today. If you want to know more about our special programs and new and innovative programs, is to visit our website and go to the Magnet and Special Programs to stay on top of any changes and program additions. We currently have about 7 programs in the pipeline that we are actually looking to launch within the next couple of years. The University of Kentucky is one of our partners. They are actually partnering with us in our Girls STEM K-8 program, and we're really excited about that. Become familiar with the application season cycle to ensure you don't miss any opportunity, submissions, or open house dates. Around this time, we have a lot of open houses going on so that families can learn more about the different program offerings and get a more in-depth understanding about the programs that are available. You may contact any program school to schedule a tour. So if there's a program that you're interested in and you really want to know more about it, you can call the school directly and set up a tour, and they'll be more than happy to serve you. If you have any other questions, feel free to give me a call. All my contact information is there, and thank you very much.
I'm here from a slightly different perspective. My name is Meg Marquis. I'm currently the Assistant Dean for Student Services in our Gatton College of Business. I'm also the proud parent of a 14-year-old who has had a really fantastic experience going through 4 different Fayette County public schools at this point. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of feedback with you all, because especially with all of that really great information, I suspect folks are probably feeling a little frazzled, so hopefully this will be helpful. So just a few really important bullet points. The number one thing that I think you've heard throughout these presentations are you have an enormous wealth of resources available to help your families and help your children. There is a tremendous amount of outreach and intervention that you can do your part as a parent as well by actually utilizing those resources. A pleasant surprise for me coming into the Fayette County school system My own background is from a very small town. I graduated with 57 people in my high school class, so to come into Fayette County felt a little big to me. But the people on the other side, these email addresses and websites have always been so responsive and helpful, so that's number one. Number two is unique to us as University of Kentucky employees, that I think it is very, very easy when we work in higher education to look at everything through that lens. Everything from pre-K to kindergarten seems like it is directly related to what happens after high school and beyond and careers. It is very, very important to put that self aside for a second and allow yourself to fully be in the role of the parent to your child as an individual, and just set aside the university stuff for a minute. There's time for all of that. Keep an open mind. There are tons and tons of programs available to your students. Obviously, you heard about all of them. My experience has been with the Gifted and Talented program, so I was delighted to hear you speak. But I will say that when we went through that decision-making process, my daughter, who is now 14, we had to have measured conversations at each of those stages when it was time to consider moving through or onto a different kind of a program. That required me to keep an open mind and remember that my child was not every single person in your class. And it required me to really listen to what these kinds of folks were telling me so we can make an informed decision. I did ask Sophia before I came to this panel. I told her that I was going to be speaking to other parents and what did she think it was important for parents to know about. And her big takeaway was that even though she herself is not a competitive child, has never been, she was surrounded by competitive children, and especially when we hit last year with the application process for high school programs, it really came out of the woodwork. And it was a very high time of stress for her. And so I felt that it was just really important to stress that I think it's very easy for us as parents to slip into adding to that competition unintentionally. So just to reassure your child that he or she is unique, they have their own interests, their own talents, their own passions, and they are not the same as the kid sitting next to them or going to another school or whatever. It does go on now. And then last but not least, certainly, is listening to your child. Obviously, any kind of transition through programs is going to be a challenge even for the most excited, optimistic, happy-go-lucky child. But you really need to hear what they're saying, what they're telling you about their desires and their interests and their experiences to ensure a successful transition. So I think those are my big takeaways. I mostly wanted to come up here and reassure you that in spite of, you can get really overwhelmed by a lot of this information, but it should actually represent the wealth of resources you have available to your children. I also just want to put in a second plug that I also have a stepdaughter in Justin County school system, and this is replicated elsewhere. So if you're looking at schools there, Madison County, you're going to find similar resources in the area. Yeah.
So you all have received a lot of information. If you're here at the FCPS at the Blitz, you'll be able to visit the different tables. If you are via online, we want to be able to provide you with an opportunity to come meet us in person, meet us live, and continue to talk with our departments, some that are here and some that are not even here. So we work with community partners to host 2 events a year. The first one is called Family University. It will be Saturday, November 9th from 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at Community Play High School. And when we say family, we mean the whole family. We offer parent caregiver sessions where you hear from student support service and the social emotional learning curriculum. We'll talk about test scores, the accountability system through the state, special education, early childhood, a lot of different other areas that may be of interest. And then we also host a youth academy for pre-K all the way through 12th grade. So you're able to, again, parents can focus on the information that they want to get, and then the students are able to engage in fun and enriching activities as well. And then we also provide either a resource fair and career fair. And so the event that we host on November the 9th, Family University, which we also call FAMU, will follow that format. We also partnered with Urban League of Lexington in the spring. And so on Saturday, March 21st, 2020, yes, we're already to 2020, we'll be at Bluegrass Community and Technical College, and we'll follow that same format. And this session with Urban League really focuses on college and career readiness. And you'll see different colleges that will be available. And then we also have employers that will come in and do hands-on activities so students can explore the different sectors of the workforce. So they're more informed by the time they graduate. So please come out and join us for Family University on November 9th. And then also March 21st, 2020 at Bluegrass Community and Technical College. And you can again, continue to get this information and build capacity to support learning at home and in the community, and also partner with the school system on things that we can continue to do to best serve families. Any questions? And I didn't introduce myself. My name is Miranda Spelling. I'm with the Office of Equity, School Support, and Community Engagement, and I work with family and community engagement. And so we'll take any questions if there are any.
All right, thank you so much to our special guests from Fayette County Public Schools. At this time, the parents that are in the room, you're welcome to go and visit with the different representatives at their tables. They do have some hints and things on the tables that let you know what areas they're representing. To our Zoom participants, feel free to type in any questions that you still may have, and I will be happy to get information on that for you.